We are here at the eMetrics Summit, Washington, D.C. I'm Daniel Weisberg. We're here with Jeff Gillis, Product Marketing Manager at Google, and Justin Cutroni. He's Director of Digital Intelligence at WebShare. He's also the author of two books, Google Analytics by O'Reilly and Performance Marketing by Cybex, and also blogger at Cutroni.com. So let's talk a little bit about eMetrics. So what did you see especially exciting this year about eMetrics?
I think one of the things that I noticed is there are 6 keynotes over the 3 days, and all of the keynotes are more or less name the same thing, right? It's basically managing metrics or managing marketing metrics. They're all focused on that concept of managing marketing metrics, and the presenters are folks from large enterprises like eBay. And what's great is that it feels like everyone's getting up there and they're talking about the bigger picture, right, of dealing with measurement as it relates to the bottom line for the respective businesses. And so I think we're seeing, for a long time since Google kind of got into the game in 2005 and kind of caused this renaissance of analytics and this growth, we can sometimes get caught up in the minutia and lose track of that big picture. And I think what's exciting to me is to have all of these larger organizations come forward and say, we are successful when we work with finance. We are successful when we tie things to the bottom line. We are successful when we create measurement strategies that tell stories that help us understand how our revenue is generated. And so I think even if you're a small business or a mid-sized company, we're hearing the upper echelons kind of start to push down and say, remember, we always need to be thinking about the bottom line. We always need to tie these things back into revenue and how they affect the business.
Okay. Yep.
That's great. So that's a really good big picture analysis. And then for me, we launched something in search funnels this eMetrics, and so that's by far the most exciting thing. No, just kidding. But that was pretty nice.
Cool.
We launch stuff here all the time. But when I got here, there's been some solutions that have emerged in tagging, where you can use one tag on your website and then use that as kind of a repository where you can then put all your other tags. So if you're using conversion tracking or website testing, A/B testing, you can put both tags and then just have one 3-line tag on your code. It was called Incitin. Very cool solution. There's another solution called Tagman. And then another group I met does tagging auditing, and so that's a services company, and that's pretty important too. So it's just making sure you've got the implementation right, and we see again and again that implementation is the toughest thing. And so it's actually really exciting to see a couple solutions emerge and start to gain some traction. And actually Justin was telling me a little bit about the interface with this one product, Incitin. Just makes it very easy to kind of specify which tags you want to activate on your site. And so you can do it all in one place right now. So a non-Google solution, and really cool to see that finally coming up after how many years has this conference been around?
Yeah, a long time.
Over 5 years, and finally, something like that, making it a lot easier. Although you were talking something very interesting about it being one single point of failure.
Point of failure. Yep, that's it. It is a great solution. I've had a couple demos, and we're pushing it rapidly into our clients. But when you replace any type of tag, if it's an under tag or Google Analytics, and you replace that with a third party, that third party becomes your failure point. So if they go down, you're basically outsourcing a critical piece of your infrastructure. So, but it seems like the guys at Incitin have a very reliable, scalable product, and it addresses the issue that keeps us from focusing on the bigger picture revenue and all that other stuff. So if we can hopefully finally put tagging to bed soon, I would be so stoked.
And they've been talking about they could eliminate a head count, some person who is managing all the tags on the pages. Now they can have one guy doing it.
That's one of the huge selling points we have. Nice. If you work with vendors that do the development for your apps or your development for your website, saves them time, saves you money. So, and again, get you back to thinking about revenue.
Right.
Yeah, very exciting indeed. And one of the things that I've seen is I've talked to a few people about Monetake. It's also a specific solution, small company, and they're doing very cool stuff about targeting. And one of the things that I think it's especially exciting is the opportunity to target people based on their weather information. I mean, so you want to target people to show, I don't know, sunny pictures to people that are in a place that it's raining right now. So you have real-time weather information and can target people based on that. So I think it's very interesting. And talking about targeting, one of the things that I think it's very interesting is this world of analytics we have. It's pretty segmented right now in terms of tools. We talk about analytics, we talk about testing, we talk about targeting, and I would like to understand what you think about is this going to converge or diverge? Meaning, are the tools going to become a one tool for everything, or how do you see that? Yeah.
Sure. I'll take this one first and then hand it over to Justin. We at Google, we have a couple different tools that are free and very attractive to be used by webmasters and marketers. Google Analytics, obviously web analytics tool, Website Optimizer, which is website testing, and then also webmaster tools where you can let the Google search engine know about your site and it gets indexed in an easier way. Right now, those are separate, and they are, they've traditionally been thought of as separate efforts. However, they all live under the same focus area at Google, more or less. So there's definitely some kind of similarity. Also, they're all at this show. Everybody notices that there's some similarity. They're going to be controlled by your webmaster. And so my feeling is that if there was a way to make them make them accessible in one place, that would be the way to go. And so sometimes they use different scripts, and they take a different amount of time to implement, and the reports look totally different. However, you're kind of going towards the same area, and so overall, I think those things should converge at some point. That's just my thought, though.
So at our company at WebShare, we actually have an analytics team, right? And we do a lot of what would focus on mostly quantitative metrics and data. And we actually have a usability team that actually has control over a lot of the qualitative data. And we actually put testing in that group, right, in our usability group. And so, and taking a step back and not talking about this from a tool perspective, but we've just found that designing tests and coming up with different alternatives, it definitely has that usability, that touch, right, that team has to be a part of. But yet, that a lot of the data, we get quantitative data back from those tools. We often use quantitative data to identify where the issues are to do those things. So it's really kind of this hybrid that it spans, I think, both. I think in general, testing is part of analytics, right? Testing is part of web analytics. I've felt that way. And we have analytics there's a lot of things that are part of analytics now. Social media measurement, process optimization, but we're evolving and changing really fast, right? I mean, I was at Exchange a couple weeks ago, and when we were there, we weren't talking to departments that were like web analytics groups. Web analytics a lot of times will live inside of research, or they will live inside of business intelligence at larger organizations. So I see kind of testing as part of that, and it's kind of all getting moved into potentially other parts of the organization. But I think you mentioned the tools. Testing is something that lives within the umbrella of analytics, and I think it should.
Great. Interesting. So I'd like you to share some kind of insights or tips on what do you think it's especially important for people that are either starting or on the process of analytics testing, some, reports you like to look at?
So I think the best advice that I've ever gotten about being an analyst or doing analysis is, asking why 3 times. And I think a lot of people have talked about this over the years, but it's not necessarily a report to look at. It's answering a business question, right? So there are things that you have to answer every week or every month or every day. And when you find that answer, you have to ask why at least 3 times. Oh, revenue was up. Why? Well, we increased our paid search campaigns. Well, why? Was it a certain campaign? Oh, yes, it was this campaign. Well, why? Was it a certain way that you tweaked it? Did you put some negative keywords in there? Did you just increase the spend? Or What did you do? Was there a certain geographic component that performed really well? So I think asking why at least 3 times when you're trying to answer a question or understand any metric is a really important thing to do. And that's basically segmentation, right? We keep digging down and drilling down to answer those whys by segmenting the data by different dimensions, geography or something else. So to me, that is the core of what we do, is we keep digging in there to try to find that nugget that has bubbled up and caused some type of macro change.
That's great. And then I was always been a huge fan of testing, and so for me, I think it's just, as a marketer, it's also such an easy thing to convince people to do that is good. So which worked better, A or B? Go with B. Like going to the eye doctor, and so I'm a huge fan of that. I think they have some great case studies. The YouTube homepage study, which resulted in just a ton more revenue and traffic to the right areas of the website. And so once you identify your goals, which is the first thing, then just have your team do a test, because you can't know which design is really going to work better.
It's almost like saying, do you want to be healthy or sick?
Yeah.
I just want to be healthy.
Right.
All the time.
Yeah, one of the things I like testing especially is that it helps you to convince people that the whole conversion optimization process is you'll get money out of that. I mean, if you don't have analytics, for example, and you just have a test on the landing page or something, and then you can prove that you can raise the revenue by 50%, then you'll get the money from management or the resource that you need to implement analytics and testing and the whole process.
I totally agree, and I do think that we'll see promotions come out of this. Like we always talk about, use this tool and you'll get promoted. I really think that this one is where you can back up things that you're doing with data. It makes a lot of sense on the bottom line.
Right. So how do you see the analytics industry moving forward?
So let's see, a lot of consolidation, hopefully. Well, a lot of consolidation has happened in terms of certain companies being acquired, especially since Google launched for free. I think
is that a direct correlation there, Jeff, that you're drawing?
I'm pretty blind about that. I mean, maybe I don't know. I should be a little more diplomatic, but who knows?
Correlation and causation. I have to do some more analysis on that.
I think that making these tools a lot easier to use is a good first step. We launched something called Intelligence, which points you in the right direction, does anomaly detection. But again, implementation is difficult. There's also 100 tools out there that especially a small business could use and needs to use, whether it's monitoring to see if your website is up, just simple